Hey everybody, we're here at Geo Week 2026 in Denver. I'm here with Cameron Rex. Hey Cameron.
Hi, how's it going?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So what brings you here?
Well, I've been a customer of Mosaic for about a year now, and we've been working in the 360 capture field for about 10 years, and really kind of took a step up last year. But it's really about seeing what's available as far as capturing 360, all of that for our rail corridor work.
Okay. You do mainly rail corridor work?
Yeah, about 95% of our work is rail corridor work.
Okay. In fact, your picture is on our backdrop here. This is Chicago.
Yep. That picture actually, typically we're high rail. Truck on rail when we're capturing 360. This particular project was pretty small and wasn't necessary, but so we capture anywhere from 10 miles to 425 miles or more, and it's kind of a multi-day process oftentimes.
So what exactly is needed for this inspection of railways?
So what we use it for is primarily in our valuation processes. So we inventory assets. We're looking at across the fence land uses of the rail corridors. And oftentimes these are very difficult locations to access. Oftentimes the only way to get to these areas is by rail. So it's a run one, capture once and be able to see it anytime. And that's, so we use it within our valuation processes, internally, but we're also working with the railroads to bring it to them so, they can run it once and anyone within their organization, within their company can go and look at it. Because that's one of the biggest challenges is that, their local crews have the ability to, go out there and see it, but trying to get people out there from corporate or whatever is very difficult. It takes track time. Rail lines, you're constantly dealing with rail traffic, and rail traffic comes first. So when you have the opportunity to run it, you take that opportunity, and the best way we have found to do that is by capturing 360. So we can go out there and capture it.
So you said you've been doing this for 10 years. It's a long time. What did you start with? How are you doing it, and how has that changed?
So we started off with a gyroptic 360 camera, which was a little...
That's a long time ago.
A long time ago. Very low resolution.
Yeah.
But it's really... And I think Street View was about coming out around that time, Google Street View. And so we saw the benefits there. And trying to get that into the rail space. So we started with that, and then we moved on to the Insta360s, their consumer grade cameras, and we went through several iterations of that. But there we ran into proprietary formats, extra post processing that it takes to get it to what we needed. And also, it wasn't distance-based capture; it was time-based capture.
Yeah.
Which 425 miles, if you're doing time-based capture, whether it's every 1 second or if you're doing it every, trying to figure out what speed you're going to be traveling.
That's difficult.
You end up with inconsistent results. So being able to have distance-based capture is really what, in my mind, was one of the features of Mosaic that really drew us to it.
Okay. So you're doing imagery only, without LiDAR for this type of inspection?
Correct. Right now, that's what we're doing. We're trying to feel out our rail customers. They're going out and doing their own LiDAR captures. So the question is us. If we were to add LiDAR, does that add anything to them? One of the spaces I see this being beneficial is change management. So if you can offer a lower cost, LiDAR capture when you're doing the 360 capture, perhaps that is something that they would jump on board with.
Okay. How do you see the industry evolving over the last couple of years and the next couple of years? Have you seen anything here that surprised you or you found interesting?
Well, I mean, one of the big kind of evolutions for us has been, Esri's Oriented Imagery dataset. That's been several years in the making. They had kind of a beta version, and now they're kind of pushing out a more developed version. There's still work to be done there with that, but it really kind of opens up getting to that street view like interface. So that's without forward looking too much. That's where we're at. Obviously, you got Gaussian splatting now, and trying to figure out for us, the capture rate, and to be able to still get Gaussian splat, be able to produce Gaussian splats, but also not capturing so much that it's overbearing.
Right. Okay. With the evolution of cameras, and there's always something that can be high resolution every few years. How do you see that working? Do you think you want to have like a gigapixel resolution camera? Would that help you, or is what we have today more or less?
Yeah, I think there is room for increased resolution. Having been through the whole, essentially the whole 360, or going from the original through the Insta360s, I see the evolution in the resolution, and it's good when you have it, and then you see what's better, and you're like, that's what I need. So I think there is room for increased resolution, especially with the assets we're dealing with, especially with rail. We're looking at rail, we're looking at ties, we're looking at ballast, we're looking at other assets. Being able to zoom in on those, is very beneficial, because that's what we're actually doing, is inventorying the assets.
How did this get done before? Were there people just walking along the track, checking all of the ties and tracks?
Yeah. And there's still a lot of manual inspection. When we're going out and doing our inspections, we're still stopping and looking at all the assets, because there's things you can't get capture in in any, whether LiDAR or 360 imagery capture, condition and such. So we do have to stop. We do have to still look, but it's one of those things. It's trying to get a full view.
Yeah. Are there still a lot of organizations who do only that, and they haven't yet started with any kind of automation using sensors, cameras, LiDAR?
Well, there's not a whole lot of companies that do what we do. We're one of few that actually specialize in this space, with especially in the valuation world for railroads. So it's still very much a common practice to be out there manually doing it versus an automated process.
Great. Well, thanks for stopping by, Cameron. It's great to meet you, and hopefully we'll see you at the next one.
Great. Thanks.
Thanks.